Hi, my name is Jessica, and I'm with the training team here at Planning Center. I'm also a group leader at my church, and today we're going to talk all about groups. First, I'm going to show you the public groups list and the group page, what it looks like from a member's perspective. Next, I'll walk you through how to set up those pages on the admin side. And finally, I'll show you how leaders can interact with their groups. But before we do any of that, I want to show you this powerful little question mark at the top right of every single Planning Center page. This is a help box. From here, you can access articles that we've written to help you understand our apps. You can ask a question that will take you directly to an article that can help you understand, or if you've got some specific questions that you're not finding answers to in our articles, you can contact Planning Center support. Currently, their reply time is 28 minutes. So if you contact them now, before this training is over, you'll get a response from them. So you can also submit feature requests from here as well. If you have some things that you're like, this would be great to add to groups, you can definitely do that by opening a ticket. Also, today is Thursday, and this training is happening live. It is, what's today's date? Oh, October 3rd. So today's date is October 3rd. It's Thursday. We're going live today. But if you have any questions in the future, or you want to send this to one of your team members who could also benefit from this training, then you can go ahead and send that to them to our YouTube page or to planning.center/university. It'll be available as soon as we're done here. So, all right, let's get started. Let me show you Planning Center groups. Now, what we have here is our admin side of groups. We've got two sides of groups, our admin side and then our public side, which we call Church Center. From the admin side, administrators and leaders can manage their groups. And then from the Church Center side, people can find groups and members can interact with their groups. To get to the Church Center side, you'll click this Public Groups List button, and you can see that you can share this. Now you can copy this link and put it on your website or send it to someone, or you can just click Visit. So this is the main landing page for the public side of groups. This shows you what group types that we have, and people can dive into those groups to see what groups that your church has to offer. Now, most of us are on our phones. Most people are going to be finding Church Center on their phones, and you can find Church Center on the web or on an app. So you're able to download the Church Center app, and that's what I want to show you today, the view from the Church Center app. So from the Church Center app, you can see at the bottom you can give, check in, or register for an event, but we're going to look at just groups. Now here at the top of the page, you can see my groups, the groups that I'm in. We're going to look at this Psalms group. From here, I can subscribe to any of the upcoming events. I can check out any of these resources, these Bible memory tips. I can see some of the members. And I can see that we meet Wednesdays at 10 a.m. at the Anderson House. So as a member, I'm able to see all of these different resources to make sure that I am able to be an active part of my group. But if I was not part of any groups, I would still be able to come to this page and it would look just like this. Find a group just like it does on our public groups page on the website. So let's look at small groups. So from here, my church has quite a few small groups. If I were just to scroll down through here, I might have a difficult time finding a group. But if I knew the group's name, I could type it into the search bar and be able to find it from there. Or I can use this little button to filter the groups. Now I've got different options here of how to filter. I am married. I don't really have a preference on the day of the week that the group is on. But I don't need childcare, so let's see what groups come up. So we have a group on Wednesdays, a group on Monday, and on Sundays. And on all of the group pages, you'll be able to see the group picture and then the meeting schedule so that you can quickly know which group you'd want to be a part of. My Mondays are the most free, so I'm going to click Mondays. So it looks like we're going through a book, which is cool. And the schedule is, again, Mondays at 7 p.m., which gives me plenty of time to get off work, eat some dinner, take a nap, just kind of relax before I go to group. And let's see, it says that the leader is Stacy. And I know Stacy pretty well, so I want to be in her group. So I'm going to click Ask to Join. I'm excited to be in your group. Thank goodness for autocorrect text. Now, Stacy's going to get a confirmation or a notification that says that I have asked to join her group. And she can choose to add me to the group or not add me to the group and send me a message whether she does whichever option. So from there, after I'm added to this group, I can then see the resources and the calendar, and I can subscribe to the calendar like I did on my other groups. So that's the member side. It's super quick and easy to be able to access those groups and filter down to what groups would be most applicable. It's super great to use. Let me show you how to set that up as an administrator. Oops, wrong button. Okay, so back here on the admin side, the very first thing that you want to do before you create any groups is to create a group type. So I'm going to go to the group types. And you saw these group types on the first page where it said find a group. Small groups, quarterly classes, these are all the types of groups that we have for our church. So I'm going to click small groups. Here's just a quick description to see what are small groups at our church. What do we believe small groups are? This color theme is only used on the admin side to help people see, kind of sort through what each group is. And I'll show you that here in a minute. And then this group list map, you can enable a map view for the public group list page. If you have like small groups, our small groups meet at many people's houses. So because they meet at different houses, I want to make sure people are able to look at a map and see, oh, I live here. Here's a group that I could be a part of. I want them to see that right on that page. So we've decided to enable the map view. Now, if all of your groups met like at the church or just in one place, you wouldn't necessarily need to enable that map view because they would all be at the same spot. You just have like one pin in one area. So this is super helpful when you have groups that are meeting in lots of different places. So these are the group type settings. This is going to show on that group type page. But let's look at these group defaults. Now, group defaults apply to all of the groups within this group type. So whenever you set your group defaults and then you go to add a group, any defaults that you created will then be applied to that new group that you added. So let me show you these group defaults. If you have a meeting schedule that's the same, for example, some Sunday school classes that all met Sunday mornings at 9:30 or something like that. If the group description was similar for your groups, then you could add that there. Again, if the location of your groups is all exactly the same, instead of having to add it to every single group, you could add it to this group default. Same with contact member visibility, all of these different options that you have here. We're going to drill down into these a little bit more when we get to the actual group settings, so I'll explain what these are. But if you do have groups that are similar in nature, then you want to come to these group defaults and set those up so that you don't have to set that over and over and over again. So those are the group defaults. The next thing that we want to make sure that we have set up before we ever create a group is our tags. So we saw earlier that we had an option of stage of life, day of week, and childcare, but you may notice that we didn't see the neighborhood on the list that we were looking through when we were filtering for groups. Now, this neighborhood the tag isn't applied to any of my small groups, so that's why it's not showing up on that filter. If you create a tag, you want to make sure that you assign that tag to a group from the group settings so that whenever people do go to filter, they're able to use that tag to filter. If you're noticing that your tags aren't showing up, make sure that that tag is applied to one of your groups. Now let's look at these, the settings for stage of life. So you've got all these different types of stages of life. Let's look at these. So I want to make sure that this tag is shown on the church center side. If you wanted to organize your group's page with these tags, then you could choose to uncheck this box. That just helps you be able to filter your groups page and see what is happening on the admin side. But again, I want people to be able to choose their stage of life. And one group can belong to many stages of life. It could be a junior high group whose parents also come. It could be a young adult group for single and married people. So we want to make sure that when people filter, they see all of those different options. So yes, this can belong to many stages of life. However, a neighborhood, on the other hand, can't belong to the group, can't belong to many neighborhoods. Typically, it's going to be in one neighborhood. So you've got some availability there. All right, so we have set up our group types, our defaults, and our tags. Now let's add a group. We'll go back to our groups page. And down here, you can see this plus sign. And I'm going to create a small group. My husband and I are going to lead a group. Our last name is Little, so we'll create the Little small group. Well, that's redundant. We'll just create the little group. So we'll create that. And the very first thing that I want to do whenever I create a group is go to the settings. So from the settings, you can see this meeting schedule that I referenced earlier that's below the image. We want to make sure people see that so they can quickly know, when are these guys meeting? Can I come to that group? So we'll meet Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Now, we're going to be meeting at the Gendry's house. Let me show you what that looks like. So this is where their house is, and for members, I want members to be able to get to the house. So we've got an exact location for them. Oh, sorry, just kidding. This says non-member display. That's for non-members. But members will see an exact location. Non-members, however, will only see just like this. So again, I want non-members to my group to be able to just see an approximate display. I don't want the internet knowing where we're meeting or where the Gendrys live, because that would just be a little creepy. So I want members to be able to get to my house. If this was a public location, again, your church, a public building, you could definitely leave this as exact. But again, since it's not, I'm going to leave it as approximate and save that. Now the Gendrys can only fit about 10 people in their living room. So I'm going to make sure that this enrollment number closes at 10 people. This member visibility was one of the group defaults that we saw earlier. We said members can see leaders' name, photo, email, and phone number. So when they're on their group page, they're able to see the leader's name, again, photo, email, and phone number. But for other members to see other members' information, we decided for small groups, we just want them to see the name in the photo. So they can put someone's face to their name. If they want to get information, then they can do that at the small group. So that's the member visibility. Let's see, this leader access. My husband is going to help me lead this group, but he won't need access to the whole database. So I'm going to leave this unchecked. What will happen is when he wants to invite someone to join the group, he'll use their email address, send them a little note, and invite them to join the group. If you check this box, then you will allow leaders to search what it says, the whole database, and they can add someone to the group by typing in their name, and they'll have access to all of the people in your people database. Really, that depends. If you want to leave this on or off, depends on what you want group leaders to have access to. For my group, I'm going to leave this unchecked. This attendance reminder, I want to make sure that we take attendance at every event. So I'm going to ask leaders to take attendance. They'll receive an email 10 minutes before the event. So then they'll be able to click the link and go take that attendance. And this, I don't necessarily need people to be reminded. I might send an email out to begin with before the very first group, but we don't need to send email reminders out for my group. However, if you have a group that you are cooking for or planning seating for, and you want to make sure that people RSVP, then you can turn this on and choose to have reminder emails sent to the people in your group. All right, here are these tags that we saw earlier. Let's see, we're leading this for young adults, college age. Oops, let's go back. It is on Tuesdays. We do not have childcare provided, and we are in the La Mesa neighborhood. So again, these tags are super powerful for filtering on the public page. If you just have a ton of groups with no tags, it's hard for people just to scroll through and find that. But if you've got some tags set up, it helps them to be able to see, oh, this is something that is more applicable to me. All right, so now my settings are all set up and I'm ready for this group to show on the Church Center side. So I'm going to change it to public. Now I'm ready for people to enroll in it, and there are two options here, request to join and open sign up. Now request to join is what I did earlier whenever I requested to join the Matusin group. I clicked ask to join, I typed in my message to Stacy, and that will be sent to her and she'll get to choose to add me or not add me. Open sign up is a little bit of a different experience for a member. Instead of seeing the button that says ask to join, it'll just say join, and they can click that and then they're immediately a part of the group. Now that's really helpful, but if you do use the open sign up, we want to make sure that your member visibility is set up to where you are still protecting the other members and the leaders in your group. Because if you choose to have open sign up, the members, the people who add themselves to the group, can immediately see the other member's name and photo, and the leader's name, photo, email address, and phone. If that's okay with you, and you've got your visibility set up in the way that you feel is secure, sweet, make that open sign up. For my group, I really want them to request to join. So then this contact email, I'm going to just have it be the church's email address because I don't necessarily want it to be mine. If they have questions about the group, I'd like for them to contact the church. So I'm going to leave that there. If you leave this blank, then the contact button won't show up on the group page. And like we saw Stacy's name, I am going to list the leader's name publicly. Now, those are all the settings for a group. Again, you can add group description, the picture, some other things like that. But those are the basic ones that we want to make sure that you are aware of. The very next thing that I want to do is add a leader. So I'm going to click add a member. First, I'm going to add my husband because he's going to lead this with me. There he is. And here it says add member. I don't necessarily need to notify Aaron that I'm adding him as a member because I'm going to notify him that I'm adding him as a leader. I'll show you what that looks like. So I'm adding Aaron. Now I'm going to make him a leader. Now I want to notify him. When I notify him using this checkbox, what will happen is that he will receive an email that says you become a leader, and he can click the link in that email to be taken directly to this page. So yes, I'm going to make him a leader. Now that's how you make a group. Now let's go back to the main groups page. Let me show you some other things that are on this admin page. Back on this group page, you can use these filters. You can filter by group types or by tags. So up here, you can change this to any of your group types. So your small groups, your quarterly classes. Now, did you see how these are changing colors? Remember how we showed you what that looked like on the group types settings? You can change those to where you can see all of these. But I'm going to put it in all groups so that you can see how they all work together. So quickly, at a glance, I can see what group type these are in. Now, there's a group type that is a not group type. It's called unique groups. Now, for those groups that they don't really fit in a group at this point, like there's not a bunch of them, so you didn't want to create a group type for them, those are these unique groups. So like our board of directors is in here. There's a couple of different unique groups in here. And you can see here that our board of directors group is private and closed. Again, you can see that at a glance with these little icons. When they last met and when they're meeting again, and how many members that they have. So at a glance, there's a lot of powerful things that you can see here on this page. The other thing you can do on this main page is, I'm going to go to my growth track page. Now, all of these are closed. No one can sign up for them just yet, but I can make them all open at the same time. So if you want to set up all of your groups to where they're not accessible for people to view yet, or they're not accessible for people to sign up yet, you can set them all up on the admin side. And then when you're ready to show them off to the world, you can change these all to public or private right from this page. This is super handy whenever you're launching a big group of groups big group of groups for your church to be able to be a part of, because then you're not having to go into all the settings of all of the different groups to make them public or make them open. So definitely take advantage of that. Set up your groups beforehand and then go make them all public or open at once. And then here on the filter, I'm going to go to, now this doesn't show any tags because these groups aren't tagged. But if I go to small groups, I can filter these tags, these groups by these tags. So I want to see high school groups. Oops, there's not any. But there are some married groups here, and I can be able to view those, and I can even see any archived groups that we've seen before. So those filters are, again, pretty helpful. I'm going to show you all the groups, and I want to show you this calendar. Now, administrators can use this calendar to see kind of what's happening soon. You can see all of the days of the months have groups happening on them, and you can see when they are happening. So if someone called the church office and said, "Do you have any groups happening this week?" then you could answer and say, "Sure, this week at 7:00." All of these ones are meeting. So you can be able to give that information to people if you want. The cool thing about this page too is that whenever you change the group type at the top, the calendar changes. So then you can look through here and see, oh, these are all small groups and they are meeting on these times. So these filters are super great, again, for the admin side whenever you're working on when you want to give the information to people. Now I want to show you the people page. So groups are priced based on the number of members in groups. And the way that you find those members is by coming to the people page. You can see them right here. So we've got 185. These are active people. So these are all active members in groups. And you can filter this page based on who's in groups with these tags, or based on inactive people or leaders or members, administrators. You can filter this whole page by any of these things. And then as you filter these people, you can choose to email them, print a list of them, or export a list of all of these people as well. If you want to add an administrator, you click Add Administrator and type in their name, and then they will have administrative privileges to be able to see what's happening on the group side and help manage that side. So that is what an administrator can do. There's a lot of powerful things that an administrator has access to. So let's look and see what a group leader can do. Now I'm going to go to my husband's page. I already have this pulled up, so I'm going to refresh this page, and we'll see that the little group, he's been added to be a leader of the little group. You can tell he's the leader because this is his picture. This is his picture. They're the same. So you can tell he's the leader of these groups. He can also see the group that he's a member of from this page, but he can't make any actions on that group. So he could go in and look and see the same things that he would see on the church center side. So let's look at the little group and make sure that things are set up. Oh, look. Well, we just launched this group, and we already have a membership request. So what he can do here is he can choose to add or not add this person, Clay Byers. If he adds him, if you click one of those buttons, you can choose this action. You can add him as a member, add as a leader, don't add them to the group, and you can choose to send an email to Clay. So we're going to add him as a member. Howdy back. So we will add him as a member. And he'll get an email that says that he's been added as a member. We have some friends that we've been talking to that we really want to invite to join our group to come hang out with us. So the way Aaron would do that would be by clicking invite a new member. Now, previously in the settings, we looked at leaders could be able to search the database, or they could just invite a new member. And this is what this setting does. So here he can invite a new member, Ty. I'm excited for you to join our group. Group, almost. So we'll deliver that invitation, and we'll see it down here. So these pending members, you can resend an email to that person. So just reminding them like, hey, come join my group. Or you can revoke that and not allow them to join your group if you accidentally sent it to the wrong email address, or they've just decided not to join it. So you can manage all of that there. The next thing that you can do that a group leader should do on their group page is to create an event. So groups have to meet, like that's kind of what makes groups cool. And so you've got to have some group times for them to meet, group events for them to meet. So we'll click create event and we'll say this is the little group again. We're gonna meet on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. and we'll meet every week until Christmas. All right, and then again, like we saw before, the location is the Gendry's house. If I wanted to put a description in here, I totally could do that, but for now, that's good to go. And I'm going to create the event. Now, I could send event reminders for this event if I wanted to make sure that that people let me know if they were coming. And probably for some of these events, if I'm gonna cook, then I probably will go back and send those event reminders. These are great so that people can RSVP for food or seating, or just so that you have the right number of people for whatever reason you might need it. You can send an event reminder directly from the event that you created. Again, you saw on the settings that you could send it out every single time for an event. If you didn't want to set it up that way, you could send it out just for one specific event. And when people RSVP, you can see that on your group page as well. So obviously we literally just created this event. No one's RSVP'd yet for our event. So let's go look at another group and see if we have some RSVPs. Now I'm going to this new member class. I'm gonna go to this event. And from here you can see there are RSVPs from people. So I'm gonna go to this event. Now I've got going. These guys are coming here. He's not totally sure. He's not going to be here. Justin Lopez didn't receive an email because he doesn't have an email address listed. So that's one thing that you need to make sure that you know who has email addresses and doesn't have one. I can manually change this if I have a conversation with him and say, hey, are you coming? And he says, yep, I'm going to be there. Then I can change this response to yes, no, or maybe. So you can do that on manually as well. But if I want to resend these reminders, I can do that. I can send it to anyone who hasn't received one yet. Now this would be someone who they joined the group after I sent the reminders out. So we've got one person for that. I could send it to people who haven't responded and just like give a nudge, like, hey, are you gonna come? Like, tell me. Or I can send it to everyone who's going. If I've got some pertinent information that isn't applicable to people who aren't coming, then I can send an email to all those people who are coming to the event. So you can do that with RSVPs. One other thing I want to show you on a pre-existing group is that these attendance reports. Now, as people come to your group, if you have set up to where you want your group leaders to take attendance, like I said, they'll get an email 10 minutes before the event begins, and they'll be able to take attendance for that event. This is cool because you're able to see like how like the health of your class. Now we can look down here and see that we got a bunch of perfect attendance people. We can see that the event was canceled on Labor Day weekend, and we can see that some of these people aren't coming near as often. You can also see that Hamilton has been added himself as a member, or has been added as a member since the last time we met, so he hasn't attended yet. We have Eva and Penelope. These guys are visitors for this group. They visited twice, and then they decided they wanted to become a member. Now, when you take attendance, there are two different levels. There's a member level where you can add someone as a member the moment that they come and they attend. Or if you know someone isn't like totally sure that they're going to be part of the group, but they're just there as a visitor, you can add them as well. After they've come a couple times and they want to be a group member, you can promote them as a member on the day that you're taking attendance. So that's what we did this past Sunday on September 29th. We promoted them to members, and so now they will show up on our members list. Now, Justin Lopez, it looks like he came pretty faithfully at the beginning, and then after our Labor Day the day that we canceled, he hasn't been there since. So this is helpful for me to see so that I can know, okay, I've got to reach out to this guy, or your group leader can know, I got to reach out to him and see, is everything okay? Did we miss something? Are you sick? Like, what's going on? So you can look at his information and be able to follow up with him and make sure that everything is okay. The last thing I want to show you that leaders have access to are these resources. So resources can be added group by group, or they can be added for a whole group type. If they're added for a whole group type, they're considered shared right here. So when they're added for a whole group type, people have access to those. If they're members or leaders, they'll have different access to these. So as people are browsing on Church Center, they're able to look at their group and see the different resources that are on there. So you can go to the link of some Bible memory tips, or you could download the leader expectations. Again, if you have anything that you want to share with your group, this is the best way to do it. Put it on their resources, let them know that it's there, and they can access that directly from their groups page. And that's all there is to groups. I just showed you our powerful Church Center app. We set up a group as an administrator, and then I showed you how group leaders can take ownership of that group once it's set up. And now it's time for you to try it out. I do want to make sure that you, again, know about this powerful question mark. You can subscribe to our blog and our news and updates so that you can stay in the loop of what's coming, because there are some really cool things coming to groups soon, and we'd love for you to be a part of that. And then if you want to watch this again, maybe on double speed, just to get it over with quicker, you can go to planning.center/university or to our YouTube channel. So that's all we've got for you today. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.